Let me just start by saying how thankful I am to be here today addressing you at the United Nations. I represent about 12 million Bengalis, give or take. They happen to be of the Hindu religion, and that is pertinent because when India gained independence in 1947 and Pakistan was sort of carved out of it, our land, which we used to call East Bengal, became East Pakistan. And the arrangement made at that time among the higher-ups, the powers that be, was that the Hindu Bengalis were to come over to West Bengal and the Muslim Bengalis were to go over to East Pakistan. Whatever the case may be, about 2.5 million people crossed the border in one direction and about 0.7 million crossed in the other direction. Now, it's not easy for uprooted people to suddenly find a comfortable home in the new country. First of all, the jobs they did, the educational institutions they were attending, all that was disrupted. Secondly, they came from all over East Bengal, Khulna, Pabna, Faridpur, Dhaka, Naranganj, Chattogram. But when they came to Calcutta, a relatively strange place, it was only natural that most of them tried to settle near the hub of the city so that it was easier to get access to food, clothing, shelter, and all the basic needs that a people needs. Now that created a huge problem for the people in West Bengal. They accepted us as, or rather our forefathers, as Bengalis and Hindu Bengalis, but still it's almost like we were outstaying our welcome. There was no place to go, so there were slums. There were refugee colonies or shanty towns, and some resettlement efforts were made by the government of India as far away as Dandakaranya, later as in the Sundarbans. Some people went to Tripura, Assam, Manipur, and so on. And we are resilient people, we are hardy people, we are educated people. We struggle to find our feet, but somehow we managed to get education and employment, contributed goods and services to the economy. But there were casualties, quite a few of them. Those who were not hardy enough or strong enough or clever enough simply succumbed. Better than I can talk about it, these things are recorded in books, in films, and I particularly like Ritwik Ghatak's trilogy, Subarnarekha, Meghe Tara, and Komol Gandhar, where he speaks of the anguish of people uprooted from their homes, the feeling of helplessness, which they tried to overcome. Some succeeded, some didn't. Some committed suicide. Girls went into prostitution. There were terrible things going on. And all the while, the West Bengal people were angry on us. They called us derogatory names. They asked us why we left our country without fighting. Maybe we should have, but we didn't have the arms, nor the organization. And I can only guess why my grandparents did not fight. We are an intellectual race. It's the same with the Jews. During the centuries of persecution, we see so few instances of Jews fighting back. However, my path is peaceful, and I hope that doesn't go to show that we are weak. We just feel it's not a very nice thing for humans to be fighting each other. killing each other as it's going on in so many parts of the world. So that said, we were thrown to the dogs, and it's high time that somebody spoke up for us. And I'm one of them. I have my team, I have people, and I've been looking at how new nations started after the colonial era ended. Nations like Israel, somewhat later Singapore, and of course there is another planned community in Auroville, which is an international community, and my hats off to them. But my focus is on my own people. The Baidya, the caste which is fast disappearing. There's so many intercaste marriages. But whoever I talk to says, yes, it is an issue, and it was never handled properly. That's why I'm appealing to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. I know some grievances are redressed decades after it happened, but it's the question of better late than never. And I hope to continue the dialogue so that we can get our homeland as we want, either in India or in the far-flung territories of Andaman and Nicobar, or maybe with the snow and ice melting in the Arctic, maybe we could have a homeland near the Arctic, either in Russia, northern Russia, or northern Canada. I don't suppose people of Alaska would welcome 12 million people. There will always be clashes because we have had this experience in Dandakarana. The local people used to throw stones and show their displeasure in other ways. Thank you, and more in the next.